We tell your stories every day, live. This is NBC 33 News Morning Edition.
Good morning. I'm Emily Turner, and thank you so much for joining us. Today is Tuesday, July the 22nd, and Kyle is telling me there's an issue on the Mississippi River Bridge this morning. What's happening out there, Kyle?
Yeah, this incident actually happened about 30 minutes ago, but you'll notice just behind me here, I-10 at Nicholson, looking at the Mississippi River Bridge, westbound lanes towards West Baton Rouge Parish here this morning. We actually have an accident on the very tip top of the bridge in the center lanes, which is causing slowdowns all the way actually towards, you'll notice here at I-10 at Washington. So westbound lanes towards West Baton Rouge Parish, very slow going this morning. Even if you're headed towards downtown, you probably will start to run into some slowdowns. So make sure to at least plan accordingly. Make sure to buckle up and drive safely as well. This traffic update brought to us by the Murphy Law Firm. Let's take a look at our weather for you this morning. No slowdowns for us as far as rainfall goes. You can pack the umbrella away at least for your morning commute. Perhaps needing it though later on today. We're going to be tracking some isolated showers for you. Over the last 3 hours, we've been tracking the rainfall moving from north to south over the Gulf of Mexico along the coast. All that activity heading away from us. So 71 degrees right now in Baton Rouge. Many of us waking up in the mid to lower 70s throughout the area, looking for afternoon highs returning to the lower 90s again. So relentless summer heat, higher rain chances into our tomorrow actually. Even tropical depression number 2 out in the Atlantic Ocean. Details on your full forecast in just a few. Emily?
6:01 and new this morning on NBC 33. A man shot on Girard or St. Girard Avenue near McClellan Street last night is expected to survive, but whoever almost killed him is not in custody yet. The 23-year-old victim is in the hospital. He has not been identified yet. Told he was shot multiple times in his upper and lower torso. A suspect has not been identified and a motive is still unknown. If you saw or heard anything, call Crime Stoppers at 344-STOP. Happening now in Gulf Shores, Alabama, the search continues for the body of Ponchatoula High School football star Chasten Brown. 17-year-old disappeared Sunday afternoon while swimming at a public beach in Gulf Shores. Rip currents in the area are throwing off the search effort for him. According to reports, dive teams and beach patrols could expand their search to neighboring Alabama beaches in the next few days, depending on the currents. The clock is ticking for St. George backers to get the new city on the November ballot. Tomorrow is the deadline to collect roughly 18,000 signatures from registered voters in the proposed boundaries. Don't be surprised to see supporters of Louisiana's newest city out in full force with their petition today. St. George leaders have said before their goal is to have 20,000 signatures by tomorrow's deadline. If they don't, there's still a shot at getting on the December ballot. The town of Sorrento in Ascension Parish is trying to put the fate of its police department on the November ballot as well. Tonight, the town council will hold a special meeting that'll focus entirely on what to do with the police department. Facing so many problems, including scandals and money issues, some want to get rid of the Sorrento Police Department entirely and turn over policing duties to the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office. If that happens, Sorrento will have to figure out how to pay for it. The deadline to introduce propositions for the November 4th ballot is tomorrow. The city of Central in East Baton Rouge Parish wants another police officer and needs at least $50,000 to do it. That's why the city council is also holding a meeting tonight to discuss the possibility of hiring an assistant police chief. The only full-time officer on the Central Police Force is the chief, James Salisbury. All the others are volunteers. Right now, Louisiana state troopers and the EBR Sheriff's Office help keep Central, with a population of about 27,000 people, safe. Chief Salisbury says Central does have enough money to pay for one more full-time officer and maybe more in the future. In your NBC 33 Crime Tracker this morning, we're learning more about how 27-year-old Shay Howard was killed in Donaldsonville. Ascension Parish Sheriff's deputies say her estranged husband shot her multiple times in their bathroom, and their 6-year-old child heard it happen. Deputies arrested 31-year-old Jairus Howard after he called someone and admitted to killing his wife. He's a convicted felon with a lengthy rap sheet. Here's what we found out about Howard. He's been arrested 11 times since 2000 on drug, gun, and robbery charges. Just a few months ago in April, cops were called to his wife's home. She reported he broke in while she was sleeping. Investigators say they suggested she get a restraining order, but she never did. Mr. Howard is charged with murder after he was arrested at a relative's home yesterday. Police say he was with his 6-year-old child at the time. The kid told deputies her parents were fighting, and she heard her dad shoot and kill her mom. Howard is locked up at the Ascension Parish Jail this morning. Investigators have not said what caused him to snap. Our coverage continues on the passenger plane shot down in eastern Ukraine. Critical evidence from the crash site has finally been turned over to international investigators by rebels in control of the area, and that includes the plane's black boxes. Also, a train carrying some of the bodies of victims is en route to Dutch authorities who will identify them. International authorities are still demanding a full investigation, but say the longer the investigation is delayed, the more Russia benefits.
The longer there are no conclusive explanations for what happened to this aircraft with 100% proof, the better it suits Moscow, because for as long as there is no definitive answer, they can continue with this narrative that anybody but Russia is to blame.
Russia's defense ministry is still challenging U.S. claims that Russia supplied the rebels in eastern Ukraine with the missile that shot the plane down. 6:06, and answers could be coming this week on how to help all those unpaid workers who helped clean up after Hurricane Gustav ripped through Livingston Parish. Straight ahead, how the parish plans to make good on promises. But first, action in the tropics this morning. The second tropical depression of the 2014 Atlantic hurricane season swirling in the ocean right now. Kyle is tracking the tropics and their Tuesday weather after the break.
Welcome back to time now, 6:09. Your Storm Tracker 33 Tropics tracker for you this morning. Tropical Depression 2 formed yesterday evening. We've been continuing to track it overnight last night. Just a depression, not a tropical storm, not a hurricane. It's very weak as of now. 35-mile-an-hour winds with those gusts upwards of 46 miles per hour. It's racing off towards the west at 16 miles per hour currently, and it's going to continue a westward track into about the next 12 to 24 hours. You'll notice this system continuing to stay a depression all the way until at least our late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, and actually over the next about 2 to 3 days, probably not even going to be talking about this system, as it's going to be encountering a lot of dry and high winds, dry air and high winds into areas of about the Caribbean just before it makes its way into the Lesser Antilles. So that system is going to be sheared apart. Not going to be tracking that too much longer, but we do have that out in the Atlantic that we will continue to track for you. Our clouds and rainfall picture for us over the last 3 hours. We've been tracking showers and thunderstorms offshore. A lot of the activity further off towards the south for us here this morning. So in Baton Rouge through Gonzales and Morgan City, all is quiet. You may look offshore or further south and see some thunderstorms, those high cloud tops here for us this morning. Those will continue to move offshore. 71 degrees right now in Baton Rouge, 73 in Gonzales, 75 Morgan City. You're at 75 also in Houma, 77 in New Orleans. Many of us waking up in the 70s this morning, looking for afternoon highs again into the 90s. Our Storm Tracker 33 Futurecast beginning at 8 o'clock this morning, moving into this afternoon. By our lunch hour, increasing clouds, maybe some heavy thunderstorms possible, scattered into our 5 o'clock evening commute. A lot of the activity falling apart as you head to bed tonight through tomorrow morning, staying dry. Another round of thunderstorms from Baton Rouge through St. Francisville, as we will see some heavy thunderstorms into our Wednesday afternoon, and then Wednesday evening beginning to break a few thunderstorms apart. So about a 30% coverage today, 50% tomorrow, another 30% chance of rainfall into our Thursday. Looking for highs around the lower 90s through Thursday, even the mid 90s possible by Friday into our Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be a hot weekend out there with isolated chances of rainfall. Pretty dry for many of us into our weekend plans. Morning lows in the mid to lower 70s. Taking a look at our traffic outside for you this morning. Again, very slow along the Mississippi River Bridge. Not much has changed since we just last reported here a few minutes ago. We still have that center lane blocked due to an accident on the Mississippi River Bridge, backing up traffic all the way around towards the I-10 Washington, at I-10 westbound at Washington. So plan for a slow commute in that direction. Buckle up and drive safely. This traffic update brought to us by the Murphy Law Firm. Emily.
Thank you, Kyle. 6 years and still no paychecks for those who helped clean up Hurricane Gustav's mess in Livingston Parish. As Rachel Penton reports, the parish is done dealing with FEMA, or so it seems, and is looking at new ways to make good on promises.
When Hurricane Gustav swept into Louisiana in 2008, Sam Mack and his Livingston Parish contracting company was hired to begin the debris cleanup.
We were told that we would be paid without a doubt, and that we had nothing to worry about.
But nearly 6 years later, Mack's company is out of business, and he's still waiting on more than $7,000 owed to him by the parish.
I spent half of my retirement to purchase equipment whenever I was asked to do this.
Back in May, Livingston Parish officials appealed FEMA's decision to deny the parish the more than $59 million spent on the cleanup, but lost.
We don't agree with that. We're greatly disappointed in that ruling.
Now the entire issue is at a standstill until Ricks meets with an attorney on Thursday to find out what options the parish has.
Initially, he comes with some options, viable options that the parish can proceed to try to recover and get some of these dollars to get our people paid.
Even if it doesn't involve FEMA.
There's debt forgiveness programs. We may can seek that route. There's congressional action that we may can seek to try to get some help with.
Ricks also hopes the parish can avoid a lawsuit from contractors being forced to sue in order to repay their bank loans.
For everybody to start suing everybody makes no sense at all, because nobody has any money.
It's a debris debacle that has cost a lot of people in Livingston Parish a lot of money.
We worked, we did a job, we should get paid. I feel the parish should find the money some way, somehow to do that.
That was Rachel Penton reporting. Livingston officials say some contractors have been paid while others haven't seen a penny. Leighton Ricks says he's calling a special session on Thursday with council members after he hears what lawyers have to say. A Dedham Springs lawmaker is becoming one of the first in Louisiana to directly address the immigration issue and how it may affect our state. State Rep Valerie Hodges posted a survey on her Facebook page called Louisiana Border, Are We Secure? The survey aims to find out if Louisianians really are concerned about illegal immigrants crossing the border right next door in Texas. Majority polled say they are extremely concerned about our nation's immigration crisis. Dubbed Operation Strong Safety, Texas is sending 1,000 National Guard troops to the Mexican border to bolster border security. Governor Rick Perry says his state's border patrol facilities are overwhelmed by tens of thousands of undocumented immigrants from Central America, including children who started to pour into the United States this year.
I will not stand idly by while our citizens are under assault and little children from Central America are detained in squalor. We are too good a country for that to occur.
President Obama has requested an additional $3.7 billion from Congress to deal with the immigration crisis. A brave American soldier now has his Medal of Honor. Staff Sergeant Ryan Pitts was wounded and under enemy fire, but still fought the Taliban alone in Afghanistan in 2008. And for that, he received the highest military decoration there is. In addition to praising Pitts, President Obama mentioned a milestone the soldier and his wife have reached.
They are actually celebrating, Ryan and Amy, their second anniversary today. As Ryan put it, it's going to be tough topping this one as anniversaries go. But let me just give you a piece of advice as somebody who's now been married for over 20 years. You should try. I'm just saying, don't rest on your laurels after just 2 years.
Sergeant Pitts says the Medal of Honor recognizes the efforts of his fellow soldiers, especially the fallen. LSU hires a new assistant baseball coach who returns to the South after years with the Yankees. Hear all about the new hire next. But first, it's an NBC 33 safety alert. Find out what Trader Joe's says could be contaminated with listeria right after this. 7:18, and we're back with an NBC 33 safety alert and a recall from Trader Joe's. The grocery chain with a new location in Baton Rouge is calling back some fresh produce supplied by a company in California over possible listeria contamination. Trader Joe's is removing certain peaches, nectarines, plums, and plum apricot hybrids from its shelves. They're dated between June 2nd and July 18th. The good news is no one has gotten sick yet. Trader Joe's says these fruits are being removed out of, quote, extreme caution. If you recently bought recalled fruit from Trader Joe's, throw the produce away or bring it back to the store for a full refund. The LSU baseball team has 12 new players and a new assistant coach with strong Louisiana ties. NBC 33's Matt Boudreau has more on the ex-Yankee, now Tiger.
If experience was a major factor, then we never would have sent anybody to the moon, is the way I look at it, okay?
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Of course, one thing that's going to jump out to you is that he has no previous coaching experience at the collegiate level. I'm really not worried about that at all.
Well, it's not rocket science, but LSU head baseball coach Paul Mainieri certainly hopes he's found a suitable replacement for former recruiting coordinator and hitting coach Javi Sanchez. The new hire, Andy Cannizaro, who's spent most of his professional career with the New York Yankees, now back in Baton Rouge with the LSU Tigers.
Coach Mainieri called, the opportunity to come to LSU. We jumped and we're in and we're excited about it and look forward to all the things that come along with it.
And as a hitting coach, one of those things is teaching the college players how to be successful at the plate with less powerful bats and less lively baseballs than the ones Cannizaro played with at Tulane.
You know, since there are less home runs being hit now, I think offensive teams need to create runs and need to do things, you know, outside of the batter's box to be able to score runs.
A style he knows very well.
You know, if you can go back and look at the stats, dude, I didn't hit any home runs. You know, so that's kind of how I played back then. You know, needed to keep the ball out of the air, low line drives, hard ground balls, steal bases, create runs, do all those kind of things. And I'm really excited about some of the parts and pieces that we have here. All those guys play hard. They play fast. You know what I mean? They're smart hitters. They're smart players.
And in the end, he hopes to prove Paul Mainieri made a smart hire. Matt Boudreau, NBC 33 News.
Cannizaro has a talented group of incoming players that will be new to campus with him. PerfectGame.com ranks the Tigers' 2014 recruiting class as the best in the country. 5 of the 12 were drafted by major league teams this year, but chose to go to college instead. In case you missed it yesterday, Les Miles stole the spotlight at ESPN headquarters. He went through the so-called car wash, doing 15 different radio, TV, and web interviews in just 5 hours. Miles is entering his 10th year as a Tigers head football coach, and he's gaining a reputation nationally for playing a tough opponent every year to start the season.
We look at that as a one quality opponent in a non-conference position that will challenge us and raise our level of play.
The Tigers open up against Wisconsin in Houston in just 39 days. Tonight in our evening newscast, our Matt Boudreau will take you inside the new addition to Tiger Stadium, the South End Zone expansion. Britain's Prince George turns 1 today, and to mark the occasion, the royal family released this new photo of the famous baby. The young prince is the first child of Prince William and the Duchess of Cambridge, Kate Middleton. Prince George is 3rd in line to the throne. 6:23, and we'll see you right after the break.
Some good news for you if you're headed out the door. Now for your morning commute, we have opened up all lanes of the Mississippi River Bridge in both directions. We had an earlier accident on the Mississippi River Bridge at the tip top of the bridge, and that has since been cleared. So we are opening up our traffic here for you this morning. Make sure to download our free mobile app. We'll keep you updated if any other traffic incidents occur. NBC33TV.com/mobile. This traffic update brought to us by the Murphy Law Firm. Let's take a look at our forecast for you this morning. 71 degrees in Baton Rouge, calm winds, 93% humidity, pretty muggy out there. 69 our dew point with a 9-mile visibility. Through the day today, 85 degrees by 10 o'clock, sunny and hot quickly into our mid-morning, and then even a scattered chance of rainfall by 2 o'clock this afternoon. Popcorn thunderstorms through your afternoon and early evening, beginning to start to dry out by 10 o'clock tonight, dropping into the lower 70s tomorrow morning, warming up into our weekend as chances of rainfall drop off, just 20% Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
All right. Thank you very much, Kyle. It is 5:27, and one of the biggest, most famous medical centers in the world is forking out millions to victims of a rogue doctor. A gynecologist accused of secretly videotaping and photographing patients. Coming up, what could be the largest settlement of its kind, plus why this doctor never got charged. But first, U.S. leaders trying to end the bloodshed in Gaza, calling for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas militants. Are the calls for peace working? We'll get the latest this morning from Tracy Potts in Washington. And is he really planning to run? Governor Jindal hints the White House could be in his future plans. How he did that right after this.
We tell your stories every day, live. This is NBC 33 News Morning Edition.
Thank you so much for waking up with NBC 33 today. It's Tuesday, July the 22nd. Storm Tracker 33 meteorologist Kyle Myers joins me now, and he keeps saying popcorn thunderstorms today.
Yeah, very summer-like pattern for us here today. Looking for thunderstorms to increase by this afternoon. Even seeing some offshore showers and storms moving off towards the south at this hour. We are likely to stay dry for your morning commute. However, your evening commute, we actually could see some thunderstorms around the area. Temperatures warming into the lower 90s today. As of right now, we're sitting at 71 in Baton Rouge, 75 Lafayette, as well as Houma, 77 in New Orleans. Some 60s still off towards our north, but definitely no 60s for us waking up this morning. Still pretty muggy outside as we're starting our day. Saturday. So the relentless heat continues into our afternoon all the way through the weekend. Higher chances of rainfall in the forecast for tomorrow. We actually could see some rainfall today, though. We also are tracking Tropical Depression number 2, which was named yesterday evening. Full details on your forecast coming up in just a few. Let's take a look at our traffic outside for you this morning. We have finally opened up the Mississippi River Bridge in all directions, so make sure to at least buckle up and drive safely. No major incidents or accidents to report as of now. This traffic update brought to us by the Murphy Law Firm. Emily?
6:31, and we're learning more this morning about a late-night shooting on St. Gerard Avenue near Hollywood and Evangeline. The unidentified 23-year-old man tried to get help at a CVS on Airline before he finally got to the hospital. Even though the victim was shot multiple times in the torso, authorities do believe he'll survive. Whoever shot the man on St. Gerard Avenue around 11 last night is still on the run this morning. No word if Baton Rouge police have any leads on a suspect. If you saw or heard anything, call Crime Stoppers at 344-STOP. The search continues this morning for a star high school football player from Louisiana. Authorities believe 17-year-old Chaston Brown drowned in the waters off Gulf Shores, Alabama this weekend. The football player from Ponchatoula High School disappeared Sunday afternoon while swimming at a public beach, Gulf Shores. Rip currents in the area are throwing off the search effort for him. According to reports, dive teams and beach patrols could expand their search to neighboring Alabama beaches in the next few days, depending on the currents. Continuing coverage on the plane shot down in eastern Ukraine, pro-Russian separatists have turned over critical evidence from the largest crime scene in the world right now. The black boxes from Malaysia Flight 17 are no longer in the hands of the rebels, and most of the bodies are en route to Dutch authorities. Malaysian officials say the black boxes are in good condition. It's not known what they're hoping to find on the flight recorders. Meantime, a team of international observers took a look at the crash site yesterday, believe most of the evidence has been tampered with, making a full investigation into the plane's downing very difficult.
We did not see any perimeter security in the place. There was clearly noticeably less activity, and the emergency services were not longer present, and the tents used for what they said were planning purposes had been removed. We also observed that one of the largest debris, this appears to be the big cone section to the right of the road, had someone been split or moved apart.
The crash site is still under the control of armed separatists, and pressure is mounting on Russian President Vladimir Putin to tell the rebels to back off and allow a full-scale investigation into the cause of the plane crash. Secretary of State John Kerry is in the Middle East this morning trying to work out a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas militants while rockets continue to rain down on Gaza this morning. Tracy Potts is following the latest developments for you from Washington.
Loud explosions and black smoke hover over Gaza this morning. Secretary of State John Kerry met Egypt's foreign minister today. They're trying to broker a ceasefire.
Israel has accepted that ceasefire proposal. So only Hamas now needs to make the decision to spare innocent civilians from this violence.
As of this morning, Palestinians claim more than 580 people, including women and children, have been killed. Israel says Hamas militants have fired more than 2,000 rockets. Hamas says the numbers speak for themselves, that Israel is murdering defenseless, innocent civilians. Israeli officials insist they made every effort to get civilians out before firing on Gaza.
You know why they didn't leave? Because Hamas told them to be there. Because Hamas, while we try to avoid Palestinian civilian dead, Hamas wants Palestinian civilian dead.
President Obama said the U.S. is concerned about deaths on both sides.
We don't want to see any more civilians getting killed.
Gaza is an open wound and Band-Aid won't help.
The State Department says it may take several days. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
The State Department also confirms 2 of those killed were Americans fighting with the Israeli Defense Force. President Obama signed an executive order designed to protect gay and lesbian employees from workplace discrimination. The order bans job discrimination against employees based on sexual orientation and gender identity. The LGBT community has been protected based on sexual orientation since President Clinton's executive order in 1998, but they are now protected based on gender identity as well. Here at home, people want everyone to be treated the same. The Be Fair ordinance will be discussed at City Hall tomorrow night. Metro Council members have taken up similar proposals to protect specific groups like members of the gay, lesbian, and transgender community in Baton Rouge in the past, but ultimately shot them down. Young professional groups support the measure and say it's long overdue.
I believe they're good people. They just see things from a different perspective. So I believe by saying that we're a more open society, a more open city for all people, I think that'll help us grow in the right direction.
Mayor Kip Holden supports an anti-discrimination measure in Baton Rouge and on his Facebook page urged people to contact their representatives to show support. Governor Bobby Jindal seems to be another week closer to announcing his future political plans. The governor told Time magazine that running for president in 2016 is something he's considering, but in true Jindal fashion, Jindal avoided a direct answer, saying that he won't make any public announcement until after November. He took fourth in a straw poll for potential GOP contenders at a huge Republican conference in Colorado this weekend. New details this morning out of St. Martinville, where a freak accident killed a man in a park. What investigators say was being burned illegally that led to his death coming up. And still to come, an accused child molester nearly killed by the victim's dad. Find out if dad will face any charges.
Welcome back to the time now, 6:40. Our Storm Tracker 33 Tropics Tracker for you this morning. We had Tropical Depression 2 forming just yesterday evening. Continues to trek off towards the west around our 2 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. Still a tropical depression, not going to be a strong system. We're just seeing winds sustained at 35 miles per hour as of now, with gusts upwards of about 46. This is actually racing westward, going to be running into a lot of dry air, also a lot of wind shear. A lot of that wind going to help to rip this system apart. So not too worried about this as it does trek off towards the west toward the Leeward Islands. That actually system going to be dissipating over the next about 2 to 3 days. Here closer to home, we're going to be watching some showers and thunderstorms from Baton Rouge through Gonzales into Morgan City through your afternoon today. A lot of the last 3 hours, that activity offshore continues to stay offshore, heading southward with those showers and thunderstorms. For us right now, we're waking up with temperatures around 71 in Baton Rouge, 73 Gonzales, 75 for you in Houma, 75 as well in Morgan City. Many of us around the region in the mid to lower 70s waking up this morning. Let's take you through our Storm Tracker 33 Futurecast 8 o'clock this morning into about our lunch hour. Increasing clouds. You'll notice those afternoon clouds pretty prevalent across the area through the day today. By 5 o'clock in your evening, perhaps even some heavy thunderstorms from Donaldsonville through Gonzales. All that activity heading off towards the southwest into our day today. So a lot of the activity actually sticking around through your evening commute. Into our overnight though, starting to quiet things down again. Offshore showers possible, about 10% coverage as we push into our day tomorrow, increasing and ramping up rain chances into your afternoon, especially possibly seeing heavy downpours from areas of Lafayette through St. Francisville, sticking around with those rain chances through your evening tomorrow. So about a 30% coverage rain today, 50% tomorrow, highs in the lower 90s through about the next 3 days as we push towards the weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, warming up. We're in the mid 90s by this weekend with isolated showers at 20% each afternoon, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a scattered chance at 30% on Monday. Taking a look at our traffic outside for you this morning, nice and quiet, nothing major to report, so just make sure to buckle up and drive safely. This traffic update brought to us by the Murphy Law Firm. Emily.
6:42, and Mother Nature is helping firefighters fight a massive wildfire in Washington state right now. Calmer winds and cooler temperatures helped firefighters battle this destructive wildfire that has charred hundreds of square miles in Washington state. And the rain in the forecast today could help big time too. The Carlton complex of fires in north central Washington has burned close to 400 square miles, an area about 4 times the size of Seattle. The fire was just 2% contained yesterday. Authorities say a man died of an apparent heart attack while fighting flames near his home. Freak accident is under investigation in St. Martin Parish. We're told Clayton Charles was burning scrap metal when something exploded, killing him. NBC 33's Jason Dumas is tracking the story.
Burning trash or other combustible materials outdoors is illegal in Louisiana because of the potential dangers that come along with it. Those dangers became an unfortunate reality when a St. Martinville man died while burning scrap metal.
That's what they're investigating right now, to find out exactly what it was that caused it. But apparently one of the items that they were burning, it had, something in it that made it explode. And unfortunately, a piece of the shrapnel is what struck him and caused his death.
The sheriff's office still doesn't know if the scrap metal was just an oversight.
And sometimes people don't pay attention to that. They think that, I can just do this, but they don't understand if you're building, burning anything that has like aerosol type things or something, an item that you don't know what is in it, you need to make sure you're careful.
And when it comes to burning things outdoors, police urge safety and common sense.
If there's material inside of a big pile that you're not sure of, rake through the pile prior to you catching it on fire. What are you using to start the fire? Be careful that there's not something in that pile that will ignite whatever it is you're using as the accelerant. So it's important that you know, again, what you're burning and how you're going to burn it.
Furthermore, to be safe, you should also make sure you know the burning laws where you live because they differ across the state.
Find out what the requirements are to do so in where you live. Some city limits have different policies than maybe a parish would. So it's important that you find out what the policies are. Be mindful that, don't start something that you can't control.
That was Jason Dumas reporting in St. Martin Parish. Investigators there should know the exact cause of the blast by the end of the week. Crews are bringing in equipment to deal with a massive sinkhole in Spring Hill, Florida. The sinkhole caught everyone by surprise, opening up Saturday in front of this home. The hole is about 40 yards across and 30 feet deep. The ground is so unstable, the homeowner has been told to pack up and leave.
What are you trying to get out of the house?
Everything we can, because that's all I have.
and now I'm homeless.
That woman bought the home 18 months ago. Previous owner said they never had any issues with sinkholes before. Google has a plan to make your pages load faster. The search giant has developed a new kind of image format that promises to shrink the size of web photos, graphic files. The new image shrinking format is called WebP. It's already being used on popular sites like Facebook, eBay, and Netflix. Popular new TV show on Netflix prompts changes at a jail in Michigan. Why the sheriff says orange is not the new black. Straight ahead. But first, one of the most famous hospitals in the world will pay a hefty settlement because one doctor's nasty actions. Find out what he did after the break. It's one of the largest settlements ever involving sexual misconduct by a physician. Now, thousands of women might soon be compensated for the actions of a rogue doctor caught secretly recording his patients during exams. Kate Amara reports.
$190 million. Cash.
It's a huge settlement, $190 million. And at this point, the parties involved have given the proposal a green light to go forward. The judge, Johns Hopkins Hospital, and the plaintiffs, more than 8,000 former patients of Hopkins gynecologist Dr. Nikita Levy, who for years secretly filmed his patients during exams.
These women were and are extraordinarily upset, in fear, dismayed, angry, and anxious.
So traumatized, according to the lead plaintiff's attorney, many have stopped seeing any kind of doctor. Jonathan Shakur says the next step in this class action case is to determine the level of trauma and then how much money each plaintiff will receive. An attorney for Hopkins called the settlement proposal fair.
And properly balances the concerns of Dr. Levy's former patients with the obligations of the health system to provide ongoing superior care to the community.
The allegations came to light in February 2013. With a pen-shaped camera that he wore around his neck, investigators say, Dr. Levy took some 1,200 videos and 140 photographs of his patients. He was never charged. He killed himself last year while under investigation. And authorities say they have found no evidence that he shared the images with others.
Represents the beginning of a long healing process in our community. We will have closure, and we can now all begin to put this catastrophic chapter behind us.
Kate Amaro reporting, and another disturbing detail in this case. Attorneys say 62 children were among Dr. Levy's victims. A Florida father speaks out after beating up a man he says was molesting his 11-year-old son.
I attacked him viciously, and I didn't stop. The only time I paused was to go to the kitchen and retrieve a butcher knife because I was going to kill him.
This is what 18-year-old Raymond Frolander looked like after he was beat up. He's charged with sexual battery after allegedly molesting that man's 11-year-old son. The dad said he walked in on Frolander, a family friend, committing the crime. And if it weren't for his son, he would have killed the teen.
My son stepped in front of me and saved his life. He just looked at me and said, "Sir," and he shook his head and just, "No." And I just put the knife down. I just wouldn't traumatize him any more than he already was.
Frolander admitted to molesting the family friend. Police say dad won't face any charges for the beating because he was protecting his kid. A friend of Boston Marathon bombing suspect Dzhokhar Tsarnaev could get up to 25 years in jail for helping cover up the crime. Azamet Tazayakov took a backpack from Tsarnaev's dorm room shortly after the deadly bombing. This was the first trial in connection with the bombings that killed 3 and injured more than 200 others last year. 2 other friends of the bombing suspect also face charges. Orange is not the new black at a jail in Michigan. The sheriff of Saginaw County is changing inmates' uniforms because he says the Netflix prison drama glorifies life behind bars. Instead of orange uniforms, prisoners will now wear black and white stripes.
I've never watched a full episode. I've got my own reality show over here. Until there's a new show that's black and white horizontal stripes is the new black, I'm going to this look.
The sheriff says the new get-ups will make it easier to spot inmates when they're on work detail. 6:52, and one final look at your Tuesday forecast coming up next.
Taking a look at our interstate systems for you this morning, all is quiet now. We had an earlier accident on the Mississippi River Bridge, but traffic is flowing smoothly currently. Make sure to buckle up and drive safely. This traffic update brought to us by the Murphy Law Firm. Taking a look at our forecast today, and our See It, Shoot It, Share It photo of the day goes to Sydney Gaspa from Bell River. She went to Biloxi Beach for her birthday the last couple of days. Check out that photo from her. Thanks for sending that to us, Sydney, and obviously a happy big 2-0. Happy birthday. Send your photos NBC33TV.com/mobile or tag me, Weatherman Myers. 71 degrees right now in Baton Rouge. We're seeing a humidity at 93%, 69 our dew point, visibility at 9 miles per hour. We are also looking for afternoon highs in the lower 90s through our day today and tomorrow. Warming up into our weekend, about a 50% chance of rainfall tomorrow, just 30% into your day today. Most of that coming this afternoon. Keep the umbrella nearby at least through Thursday. You may be able to pack it away though this weekend. It's going to be hot though. Highs near the mid 90s. Feels like temperatures near 100.
I love it when those people share their photos with us.
Love photos.
Keep them coming in. All right, coming up tonight on NBC 33 at 7, it's a series premiere of NBC's newest show, Food Fighters, where amateur chefs take on the pros. At 8, it's a brand new America's Got Talent. Then, John Burns and Jesse Gunkel will be here for NBC 33 News at 10. Next on The Today Show.
I'm Richard Engel in Gaza City. There are angry funerals being held across the Gaza Strip today as the Palestinian death toll approaches 600. Israelis are burying their dead too. I'll have more coming up on The Today Show.
Thank you so much for waking up with NBC 33. Have a great Tuesday.